Live better and longer with the Fitzness Show, hosted by fitness expert, author, and TV personality Fitz Kohler. She'll tell you why diets are dumb, supplements are snake oil, and the truth about how you can earn a lean, hard, pain-free, and athletic body. Now for our favorite bossy blonde, Fitz Kohler.
Well, hi, team. I'm Fitz Kohler, your absolutely giddy fitness pro, author, and race announcer from fitzness.com. And welcome to the Fitzness Show. Today, I'm going to tell you all about my big adventure. That's right. I just went swimming with whale sharks and had a pretty incredible experience with a beluga whale. So, yeah, I'm here to report. That's what I'm doing. I'm reporting today. I've been telling you that this stuff was going to happen for quite a while, and it finally happened, and I'm tickled. I am absolutely tickled because it was everything I hoped it would be and possibly more. And we will be right back.
Are you looking for the perfect gift for a loved one battling cancer? The Cancer Comeback Series by Fitz Kohler offers hope, inspiration, and practical guidance. With Your Healthy Cancer Comeback, My Noisy Cancer Comeback, and the Healthy Cancer Comeback Journal. These books are a lifeline for all patients and survivors. Right now, you can order autographed copies at a special discount. Show your support and help a loved one go from sick to strong. Visit fitzness.com today. That's FITZNESS.com. Fitzness.com.
We're back. I'll backtrack a little bit. I was just talking to my mom on the phone today. She lives in Fort Lauderdale and we chat almost every day. And we were talking about my adventure. And she says, your whole childhood, all you ever talked about was swimming with the whales and being with sea life and so forth. And yeah, when I was a kid, I wanted to be, what I wanted to be was one of the trainers who swam with Shamu at SeaWorld. Just fascinated and loved. I thought it was so exciting. I love all sea creatures, or almost all, I guess. I don't really have anything against anything in the sea, but I have a lifelong fascination, probably because I grew up on the beach and we went to SeaWorld a lot for vacation, but yeah, that just didn't happen for me. In fact, I had planned to go to University of Miami and do marine biology, and I could go into it. Something happened, blah, blah, blah. But I chose not to do that, and I came to the University of Florida instead. And I had already been teaching fitness and thought, you know what? I may not be able to train whales, but I can train humans. And so fell in love with fitness, and I have zero regrets over my career. However, I still have that deep rooted yearning for interaction with ocean life and being in the ocean and so forth. The other thing that's relevant here is a podcast that I released in April of 24 this year, and it's called 21 Rounds, where I discuss my intention to replace all 21 rounds of chemotherapy, which were pretty god-awful, with 21 rounds of something fabulous, something that was athletic or adventurous or fun or funny, something that just made my life better. And during that show, I talked about swimming with the whale sharks at the Georgia Aquarium. If you've not been to the Georgia Aquarium, you should put it on your list of things to do. It is phenomenal. It just is the greatest aquarium I've ever been to. I don't know if there's anything else like it in the world. I haven't done the research on that, but it's pretty impressive. And again, I'm a girl who grew up spending a lot of days at SeaWorld. I walk into this aquarium and whoa, it has some very special things to offer. But in that show, that 21 Rounds show, one of the things that I declared that I would like to do to replace one of my rounds of chemo was swim with the whale sharks. They call it diving with the gentle giants. And yeah, whale sharks are the largest shark, the largest fish on Earth. They can be 60 feet long, 11 tons. They are massive. I mean, you would have to stack a couple of school buses nose to rear to get to be as long as some of these whale sharks. They're ginormous. And thankfully, they're not hostile. That's right. Unless you're plankton or shrimp or krill, they are not hostile. They don't want to eat us. And I don't know if they even can. They have these really short, wide mouths. I'm not sure how wide they can get them open. I'm sure it probably could squeeze me in there if they really wanted to, but they have no ill will towards you or I, or even sea lions. They They feed off plankton and similar type of items. So they're harmless, right? They're gentle. And there are 2 at the Georgia Aquarium. Now, going back a couple of years, I went to the Georgia Aquarium for the first time with my best friend, Christy, from childhood. And we were walking up to the aquarium and she said, "Oh, they have 2 whale sharks in there." And I said, "No, they don't." And she goes, "Yeah, they do. I was here before they do." I said, "Christy, there's no way you could have whale sharks in captivity. That's just crazy." And she goes, "No, I think they do have them." And damn it if she wasn't right. She was spot on. And I was happy to apologize to her and say, "You are right. And I was wrong." And I am floored that they have these 2 massive whale sharks in this tank. And their tank is the size of a football field. And it holds 6.3 million gallons of water. Now, it's a big old tank. It's ginormous, right? And I know some of you are thinking how disappointing that they would have whale sharks in captivity. And I get it. And I'm a zoo junkie. I love, love, love animals of all sorts. And I too feel that pain sometimes when I see an animal, especially one in a exhibit that's not worthy of their size and their needs. Not all zoos are created equal, right? However, what I've come to grips with is some of these animals have been chosen to be ambassadors for their species. And because we get great exposure to lions and tigers and gorillas and cassowaries and things like that, we'd like to protect them. I think the majority of us, when we see these animals, we fall in love. And instead of wanting to hurt them, we want to help them. And that's why so many funds are raised to support these animals worldwide, both in captivity and in the wild. And yeah, these whale sharks are doing their job because I think people are in awe of them. And yes, they are in harm's way. They are endangered and people hunt them for their meat and oils and so forth. And I just think it's heinous. And of course, I'm an animal lover, and that's why I'm a vegetarian. And some people think I'm a vegetarian because I'm trying to be skinny or whatever. Trust me, I'm not trying to be skinny. I like to be lean and strong, but I love animals. I just love them, and it makes me sad to eat them, so I don't do it anymore. So I have a real bleeding heart for these guys, but I want to hug them. I just want to hug them all. I want to hug them, and I want to kiss them. So in April, I released this episode, 21 Rounds. And one of the things I was very sure about is I would like to replace one of the rounds with swimming with the whale sharks at the Georgia Aquarium. I had a few other wishes on that list, but I'm still trying to figure out, right? I'm open to options. And if I go through these 21 rounds, I may go do I may replace my 33 rounds of radiation and just keep filling my life with adventure and joy and challenges, because life is short, and I very much know that. So in May, my birthday rolled around. I'm a May 27th person, and I was at the Buffalo Marathon with my bestie, Rudy Novotny, my other bestie. And for my birthday, he made this cute little, I always think it's great when men do arts and crafts, especially ones who don't have any innate artistic ability. If you're an artist and you do arts and crafts, maybe less cute, maybe just awesome. But anyways, poor Rudy, he slid this little printout he made into the sleeves of my announcer book. And I opened it and it said, "You're going to swim with the gentle giants at the Georgia Aquarium." And it was pretty fantastic. I was elated, absolutely dumbfounded. Such a generous gift. First of all, very, very generous. And if Rudy is nothing else, he is a generous person, but thoughtful. And he just said, "I would like to do this for you. I always wonder what I should get you on your birthday. And this year I knew exactly what to get you because you said it out loud." And so very generous. It's not not an inexpensive adventure, but again, I must be the best friend and the best race announcing buddy on earth, because he seemed to be very pleased to give this to me. So he says he books it for me and then we make plans. So I pick a date where I fly in and out of Atlanta almost every week, right? And I don't know, I say every other week because I fly a lot, but I always go straight from Gainesville to Atlanta. So the plan was I would fly to Detroit for the Detroit Women's Half Marathon 10K, 5K. And then on the way home, I would stop in Atlanta, spend the night there, go to the aquarium the next day, swim with the whale sharks, and then come home. And so that has been in the works for quite a while. And one of the things that's great about having booked this adventure a few months in advance is I've been thinking about it a lot. You know how when you were a little kid, you were looking forward to going wherever the heck you were going. Well, I'm not a little kid anymore, but I have been counting the seconds until I got to Whale Shark Day. And so it's been very exciting for me. And I've just been giddy. So I did the thing. I announced a race in Detroit on Sunday morning. I flew to Atlanta that night. I have a hotel directly next to the aquarium. In fact, I was looking out of my window. I was on the 10th floor directly over the aquarium. And I think the word aquarium doesn't quite cut it. It's not sufficient enough to describe what this place is. It's the size of a big mall. It's ginormous and it's bulky and multiple stories high, filled with fish and sharks and all sorts of incredible animals in there. So I don't know if the word aquarium really does justice to what you're experiencing in this building. But yeah, it was really fun to look out over my home for the next day. And I woke up with bells on. I had lunch with a bestie from another bestie. I'm so lucky to have so many good friends, Sharon. But I went in, and here's the other thing. Not only did Rudy get me the whale shark experience, but he tacked on a beluga whale experience, which was unnecessary, but awesome. Right? Just another thing I was super excited about. So I went into the aquarium around noon, and I enjoyed the aquarium like everybody else. I went through all the exhibits. I love their ocean predators exhibit. It's a 2-story tank with all sorts of different sharks in there. There's hammerheads and I think bull sharks, and there's cute little fish in there too. I fear for the little fish, but it was very cool. And they play ominous music while you're in that exhibit. So ocean predators, love that one. And they have alligators and they have dolphins and otters and you name it. They have all the sea creatures. So I enjoyed that for a couple of hours. And then I went for my beluga whale encounter. And that was just really fun. There's a check-in booth, and then the staffer comes to get me and 3 other people. It was a family, and brought us into the top portion of the beluga whale tank. So the beluga whales have this multi-story tank for themselves where they can swim around and play. And then the top area is just like a pool deck, but bigger. And they put the yoga mats down, and our beluga that we were going to interact with, her name was Kino. It's just so freaking cute. Belugas are very large, maybe triple the size of dolphins. White. They have this bulbous thing on their head. It looks like a squishy outer brain. It's not their brain. It's just this cartilage area. It's soft and squishy. But our beluga was so happy to see us. Her name was Kino. She popped right out of the water where we were kneeling on the yoga mat. And I promise you, she smiled. She smiled and she squeaked and she chirped, and she was just like a puppy. Think about how happy your dog is to see you when you walk through the house, into the house at the end of the day. Kino was so excited to see us, and it was just really fun to see her joy. And of course, I was bursting at the seams. And what did I want to do? I wanted to leap off the yoga mat and put my arms around her slick body, over her fins, and hug her and just, I don't know, twirl around with her in the tank. Now, I didn't do any of that, but I wanted to. And I want you to know that I executed incredible restraint by not leaping onto Kino to hug her and kiss her and fly off into outer space. But having said that, when we arrived, our staffer, our guide, she said, "What would you like out of this? What would you guys like to do?" And I said, "Well, I would like to kiss our beluga." And she said, "Okay, done. We can make that happen." So we get there, we meet the beluga, we meet Kino, and she tells us a little bit about her. Kino lies out on her tummy. I mean, again, this trainer is just moving her hand, her little finger, and the beluga responds so perfectly, again, like a very well-trained dog. But she lied on her tummy so we could see her back, so we could pet her back. She turned over, lied on her back so we could pet her tummy and look at her belly button, which was super cute. She came over. We each got to pet her face. we got to pet the squishy part of the top of her head. And it does look like there's a cartoon with a scientist who has a big brain and squishing out of the top of his head. That's kind of what their head looks like. But she assured me that was not her brain up there. It was just cartilage. It was very soft and squishy. It felt good. Sometimes I've petted dolphin. I've ridden a dolphin before. I've swam with dolphins and they don't feel as good, but belugas are really enjoyable to touch. And then here's one of the most adorable things is apparently their tongues are very sensitive. So they're not as sensitive on their skin, but their tongues are very sensitive. So when you want to say, good job, Kino, you pat her tongue. And that's what the trainer kept doing, saying, good girl, and patting her tongue. And so we all got to pat her tongue. We had to wash our hands first, I assure you. But yeah, I got to put my hand in this sweet beluga's mouth and pat her tongue. And she seemed so grateful that I did it. She was very excited about me patting her tongue and the other guests when they did it. And then finally it was time. She said, are you ready to give her a kiss? And I said, I am. So I put my hands out in front and Kino came and she rested her chin on my hands and I had to lift her up a little bit. And we had possibly the most magical kiss of my entire life. I'm not even joking. It was just perfect lip to lip kiss. And I liked it. It was so fun. It made me so happy. And I can't find the words to tell you how wonderful it was to kiss this beluga whale right on the mouth. But I'm oozing with joy. It was so great. So yeah, I'm in love. And I've seen belugas many times before and I thought, oh, they're so cute. But I had no idea how truly cute and sweet they are. And I'm just going to assume every beluga whale on earth is as sweet as Kino. I want one. I want one so bad. I'm going to figure out how to build a big enough pool in my backyard so I could have my very own beluga because it was, I don't know, just bliss, pure bliss. What a great kisser. What a wonderful experience. It was tremendous. And it's something that I will pursue again. And grownups. So we've been talking lately about there's the economy, which sucks, right? Has anybody ever lived through such a bad economy? I don't know. I don't know if any of us have, but once you pay your bills, you do have, well, hopefully you have some money and you get to make choices with that money. And so perhaps you're going to spend it on Netflix or Hulu, or you're going to spend it on bowling, or I don't know, whatever we do for leisure, right? Or you can put $100 aside to one day go kiss a beluga whale at the Georgia Aquarium. So think about it. And maybe beluga whale isn't your cup of tea. Maybe you'd like to go meet some lemurs at a conservatory, or maybe you'd like to get backstage tickets to meet your favorite person. But if you save up, you can get that quarter jar, that penny jar, whatever it is, you just start putting it aside, you will be able to live out your dreams too. Or if you have a generous bestie, right? But I will get the penny jar or the quarter jar and I will put money away. So next time I'm in the area or at some point in the future, I will certainly invest in going back to kiss a beluga or kiss a beluga elsewhere. But it was a worthy investment for somebody and I loved it. So I do that and it probably only lasted about 20 minutes, but I assure you it was a great fun-filled 20 minutes. We leave there. I've got an hour and a half to kill, happy to kill an hour and a half in the Georgia Aquarium. And then I go back to the check-in booth so I could get started on my whale shark swimming adventure. So Lauren and I think his name is John, they come to get us. There's 6 of us. Normally they allow 8 people per day to do this swimming with the whale shark adventure. 2 people no-showed, which is crazy. So there were only 6 of us, which I don't know if that made our experience better or worse, but there were 6 of us. Maybe we got a little more personal attention. I made a friend quite quickly. There were 2 sets of 2, a mother-daughter team, 2 friends, and then this lady, Janie, who was there on her own, and we buddied up, which was awesome. I thought the tour was really well organized, and they brought us to the top of the tank. They gave us a little information on those whale sharks, whose names are Yushan and Taroko. One was bigger than the other, but they were both pretty massive. Even watching them or viewing them from the top, from where the pool deck. I'm going to call it the pool deck because I can't think of any other name for it. From the pool deck, they were massive, just awe-inspiring. And they like to cruise along the top, which actually works to a swimmer's benefit because you get some great access to them. So we're up on top. They give us a little tutorial. They tell us about the space, talk a little bit about the sharks. Then they brought us in a little room for a safety and instructional meeting where we watched a video, and the video basically told us not to touch the whales or sharks and not to touch anything, really. Keep your hands to yourself. If one of the fish approach you, that's okay, but you can't reach out to touch them. If you do that, they will kick you out, which makes me maybe kind of sad. Although I did for a second think, well, you know what? If I reach out and hug this whale, I get that, then I have it. And then they can kick me out and I'll still be happy. But I decided to follow the rules and be respectful because that's who I am. But it did cross my mind. That little devil on my shoulder was saying, you know what? Go for it. What are the odds you'll be back here anytime soon? But I didn't. So they had a little video with the rules, and then they told us about how to wear our wetsuits for anyone who wasn't sure, gave us some information on snorkeling. That's in fact what we did. We snorkeled. It seems like they have a dive adventure if you're a scuba diver. I am not a scuba diver, but I love snorkeling and their equipment was fantastic. That's part of the deal. You book the tour and they give you wetsuit to wear. They have hundreds of wetsuits hanging up. So whatever size you are, I assure you, they have a wetsuit for you, and boots and gloves and the snorkel and mask. So all of that was provided. Once we finished with the instructional information, we went to the locker rooms, we got changed, and then they brought us back out to the pool deck and we took a couple photos, and then we got right in, and there was a deck on the pool deck where we sat on the edge and then jumped into the water. We also had a life vest too. That's important to know because you really can't dive down wearing a life vest. And if you're not a strong swimmer, life vest, it's a win-win-win. But as I put my foot in, I thought, oh boy, here we go. Because the water was 76 degrees. Now, if you live in California or Alaska, you might think, Fitz Kohler, that's not so bad. But if you're me and you don't like the cold, then you get a little a little extra when you put your foot in the whale shark tank. But it was worth it. It was one of those things where I knew I was nervous about the temperature and I thought, screw it, I'm getting in anyways. I don't care if it's 0 degrees. I'm going to get in and swim with those sharks. So we get in and we kind of hang out in position. Everyone tests their mask to make sure it's working properly. And then we started our adventure. We had a guide, Chip, and he snorkeled out in front of us. Janie and I were 2 by 2, and there were some other pairs behind us. And we just trailed the leader by about 10 feet, and we made a big figure 8 against the tank. Actually is the size of an American football field. It's about 100 yards across, about 50 feet wide. And we just took our time. We swam slowly. They instructed us not to kick. They said, if you splash around too much, none of the sea life will come approach you. But if you are still, they will. And almost, it's not instantly, but pretty quickly, one of the whale sharks came over and just came directly underneath me. And oh, I'm so desperate for it to touch me, just so you know. Please touch me, whale shark. But it was smart. It kept itself about 1.5 inches, 2 inches from my body and just went straight up from my feet to my nose and beyond. And it was magnificent. It was so exciting. It was so exciting. And they're actually quite beautiful. Their skin looks like it was hand painted. They're brown and they've got white spots. And it looks like someone actually took a brush and just put these little circles and brush strokes coming out of them. So beautiful. What a beautiful animal. And there was 2. And so as Janie and I swam around this tank, I think we had about 40 minutes in there. We were passed by these sharks probably 10 times, at least 10 times. We had very close brushes with these sharks. And in fact, someone in one of the other pairs got bumped, and it was great. I was watching this shark swim up to her and just bonked her with its fin, and it was awesome. And was I jealous? You betcha. I'm not a jealous person. I am rarely jealous. But at that point in time, I was thinking, why can't it be me? Why did that whale shark not come and bump into me? So I wasn't so fortunate. The other coolest animal in the tank, and there were tons. There was tons of fish and jacks and sawfish and rays. But there were mannas, these monstrous manna. One was called Tallulah, 17-foot wingspan. And Tallulah quite a few times would swim directly underneath me, almost touching me, and stay there. Ugh. I'm running out of words. Can you hear? I am running out of words to say. This was an exquisite experience. It was so lovely. So the whale sharks, tons of passes by the mannas, which were very engaged, very curious about us. So the guides had warned us that they are very curious animals. But yeah, the mannas came over, lots and lots of whale shark action. And then when we weren't within arm's reach of the big animals, the gentle giants, there was just so many others to see. It's just so beautiful, fun, happy, joyful. My partner and I, we kept looking at each other with bug eyes and big smiles, thinking, holy mackerel, can you believe we're actually doing this? In fact, that was her birthday gift. Her birthday was in March, but her family gave her this swimming with the gentle giants excursion for her birthday. It makes a great gift. So I mean, we paid fair and square for this whale shark experience, or Rudy did. There was no, oh, she's in the media, let's give her a handout. There was none of that. We were just customers. I was just a customer who enjoyed my experience so much that I hope you will give it a chance if that is meaningful to you. If you love sea life and you love the ocean and you would like this opportunity, it just was fantastic. So they had a diver with a camera. So we did get video footage, and I have some nice video footage. You know, it would be great if that cameraman were assigned, if one per each of us, because then we would get a bunch of great stuff. But I've got a few clips of me between the whale sharks, which is really fun. Me between the whale sharks and the manna, which I love. And as we were getting close to it being over, I felt two things. I felt like it was really cold because I was shivering. Everyone says, oh, the wetsuit will keep you warm. No, it won't. No, it didn't. It didn't. It kept me warmer than I would have been if I were just in my bikini. But also I couldn't kick and paddle and stay moving, which is obviously very helpful to staying warm. So I was mostly still with just paddling with my arms. So I did not get a lot of exercise doing that. I wasn't intentionally raising my core temperature. So at the end of it, I was thinking, well, gee whiz, it is kind of freezing. It would be nice to get out. It also is bittersweet because I really wanted to stay. And I was really hoping one of the whales would come bump into me. And it didn't. But I got out satisfied. I got out happy. I just was so fortunate. And I don't think people take the time enough to enjoy the good times as they're happening, right? Whether you're at a concert or you're doing work that you love, or you're just spending time with people you care about. Sometimes it's nice to just sit back, look around and say, wow. Now, clearly this was an actual wow moment, but I'm always grateful. I sit in my back porch on my chair with my dogs, and I think, how fortunate am I to be here in this beautiful Florida weather with this breeze with these dogs. And so I want you to do that. I want you to do that for the everyday stuff and the big deal stuff. Definitely wow yourself. I know so many of you are athletes. You're running races. You're doing triathlons or mud runs. Take a moment mid-race to pat yourself on the back, or at least marvel at your gumption, right? The position you've put yourself in. If you are in the middle of an event, a sport, a pickleball tournament, or a race, or a dance competition, stop and marvel at how cool it is that you're doing those things. Whether you win, lose, or draw, who cares? The fact that you're out there doing these really cool things. And going back to where I started, sitting in those chemo chairs was rough. It was really a bad experience, and people were nice and they did their best to keep me comfortable, but it was scary and it was stressful and those needles hurt. And then the inevitable sickness that did come, I suffered so greatly. And there were so many moments where I thought, gee whiz, I would kill to be at the beach right now if I only had the capability to go to the beach, which I did not. And so there I was in my wetsuit with a whale shark thinking, hot damn, I am living out my dream right now. So just, I hope that by me gushing to you about all the fun I had, that you prioritize going to have your own version of dream-worthy fun. You know, the stuff that you've always wanted to do, go out and do it. I joke a lot about getting hit by a bus. I hope that never happens, obviously, but it could. You know, if I get hit by that bus tomorrow, my kids are going to be able to say, you know what, my mom, she swam with the sharks, the biggest ones on earth. She kissed a beluga. She did her life well, and that is so meaningful. So thank you, Rudy Novotny. Thank you for being one of the best friends any human has ever had and the most generous persons alive. And this was so meaningful. It was beyond what you even thought you were giving me. One of the greatest gifts ever. So thank you. I'm pleased to get round 5 checked off that list in a very big way and excited about what's coming next. So yeah, I kissed a whale and I liked it. Swam with the sharks. I wish I got a kiss, but maybe someday I'll go get some in the wild and I'll kiss one because there won't be some sort of guide to tell me not to. Okie dokie, song of the week. I couldn't go any other way. Katy Perry's I Kissed a Girl and I Liked It. From now on, every time you hear that song, replace the word girl with whale. Do it for me. Do it for you. Whatevs. But go work out with Katy Perry's I Kissed a Whale and I Liked It. Is probably appropriate for dancing and lifting and what other cross-country skiing. It would probably be great if you were doing rock climbing. So lots of options there. And if you just want to kiss someone and play that song, that's fine by me. And then my communication tip of the week is do not talk with your mouth full. Ew. I hope your mother, your father, some sort of grown up when you were a kid taught you that, but you should not be talking with your mouth full of food. Nobody wants to see it sloshing around in your mouth. It's gross to look at. It sounds weird. And you also can't smack your lips. That's just bad form altogether. Nobody on earth likes it. So do not talk in your mouth. If somebody talks to you while you're chewing the food, put your hand up. You give that, the sign language for a pause. And then you point at your face. I'm chewing, nom, nom, nom. And then you swallow. And then you say the things you need to say. But please do not talk with food in your mouth. And if you do, people might think less of you. I think they probably will think less of you. So eating habits matter. And this one coincides with your quality communication skills. Thank you so much for listening to my rant about my wonderful adventure. And what I'm hoping is you will go have a big, wonderful adventure too. I love you all. Now get to work.
Hi, this is Rudy Novotny, the voice of America's Marathons. We all love how much running has benefited every aspect of our lives, so much so that most of us only wish we'd started sooner. Wouldn't it be wonderful to gift the opportunity to children of today? Well, you can. The Morning Mile is a before-school walking and running program that gives children a chance to start each day in an active way while enjoying fun, music, and friends. That's every child, every day. It's also supported by a wonderful system of rewards, which keeps students highly motivated and frequently congratulated. Created by our favorite fitness expert, Fitz. Morning milers across the country have run over 2 million miles and are having greater success with academics, behavior, and sports because of it. The Morning Mile is free to the child, free to the school, and is inexpensively funded by businesses or generous individuals. Help more kids get moving in the morning by visiting morningmile.com. Champion the program at your favorite school or find out more about sponsorship opportunities. That's morningmile.com. Long may you run.